It's March 29th, and March 29th marks a sad anniversary here in Alberta. 4 years ago today, one of the greatest Albertans to have ever lived passed away in Calgary. That man is former Premier Ralph Klein. Now, we all know that Klein, like so many of us, came from humble beginnings. He had divorced parents and a wrestler for a dad. We all know that Klein once called unskilled Eastern troublemakers who flooded to Calgary when it was a boomtown creeps and bums. We all know how Klein dealt with environmental protesters. He flipped them the middle finger. We all know about the time Klein went to a homeless shelter and told the men there to go and get jobs. We all know Klein had struggles with alcohol, but we forgave him. Klein was public with all of his failings, plain-spoken and honest with Albertans, and we respected him for his admissions of his own humanity. We knew Klein was working for us. He paid off that deficit and then killed the debt. And he was just like us. We elected Klein over and over and over. And so today I thought I would bring you some of the lesser known facts about Ralph Klein, things we don't talk about anymore, from a time when politicians weren't scared to do the tough stuff, when politicians didn't speech police their own voters, when politicians didn't cower in fear of the media and couch every single word they say to try to please people who will hate them at the end of the day anyway. For example, we often hear that Klein was a high school dropout, but did you know he dropped out not because he wanted to quit school and be one of those creeps and bums he talked about? He quit school because he joined the Air Force at age 17. Klein received an honorable discharge and then went on to finish his high school and post-secondary education with honors. Klein won re-election as mayor of Calgary with 90% of the vote. In a time when people talk about the massive mayoral electoral victories of Naheed Nenshi, they forget that Ralph Klein was more loved and more revered in Calgary than Nenshi could ever dream of being. Klein was a card-carrying liberal before he converted to the bright side, the right side. He took over the Progressive Conservative Party and never looked back. Klein described the PCs as cliquish and unaccepting, but he won over the people, because that's what really matters, and left the old PC guard to lick their wounds. Minus the part about being a liberal, that sounds a lot like the PC guard reaction to Jason Kenney taking their party from them. When Klein was Calgary mayor during the National Energy Program, he created the Calgary Economic Development Authority to attract businesses to Calgary and to try to stave off the bleeding in the oil patch caused by Pierre Trudeau in Ottawa. Klein was using actual numbers to sell his city as a place to invest, not fake charm, hokey social license gimmicks, and trying to appease his enemies in Ottawa. Klein once said, and I'm quoting, "No Indians, no mayor," to the Olympic Committee in 1983. Klein said he would not participate when Calgary hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics if the committee excluded Aboriginals from the opening ceremonies and if there wasn't an Aboriginal cultural presence as part of the theme of the Games. Klein won that battle, and while conservatives are often so unfairly portrayed as racist, Klein's stance changed the way the Olympic Committee represents the local culture in their host cities going forward. Klein was Alberta's child. His story is everything I love about this place. Alberta is where you can be anything you want if you want it enough to work hard for it. Ralph Klein was a great man who made Alberta great again before making Alberta great again was cool. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunreid. For Canadian news with a conservative slant, be sure to subscribe to our new Rebel Canada YouTube page.